Hello, hello. Welcome to the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show. This is Sheri, and we talk about how to live joyfully every day in your life and business. I have a beautiful guest here with me today. Janet Nestor holds a vision of world peace and strives to help bring this into reality through maintaining her own peaceful inner nature and helping others do the same. So today we're going to talk about how everyone can help create a more loving and peaceful world. Welcome, Janet. I'm so blessed to have you here. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so happy to be here, Sheri. It's nice just to be with you
Yeah, we've known each other for a while.
for a long time.
I just love your message. And, um, sometimes I feel like I could just like hug you and just like drink in your energy. Like you're such a beautiful soul.
Aw.
I would love for you to share how you do this. How do you have that vision and then share it and help create a more peaceful world? And then the second part of that is to just jump right in. And like we were talking before we started here today, that your method might not be someone else's method. So what would that other method maybe look like for other people?
hmm Well, I think we're all individual people, We have different personalities, we have different backgrounds, and enjoy different things. And so I feel like our peace as each individual comes from, who we are as a person, from our soul, what our needs are. And when we meet our needs, whatever those needs might be, I think we find peace.
Mm,
So that's sort of my core thought on the issue. Um, and I think that's how I have, over the years, found a way toward peace is just getting to know who I am. And that sounds corny, maybe, but most of us, or a lot of us, go through life and never really know who we are and what it is we want. And finding that so important.
mm. So, that just sounds so wonderful. And I can just feel that people would be saying, oh, I want that too. So we could just wake up and say, okay, today I choose and I want inner peace. But we have, of course, ego in the way, and we have, our own past trauma and past hurts. So what are
Mhm.
some tools that people can use to help facilitate that inner peace process, and then not only shift things for themselves, but help them be a light for the world?
Yeah, that's a good question. I can tell you what I do every morning, and it sounds boring, maybe. I don't know. But as soon as I open my eyes, I say thank you. You know, thank you for the day. Thank you for, allowing me to be here for another day. And then I wake up early every morning. I'm sometimes awake at 5 o'clock, but I don't get up. I do my little morning ritual, which um, depends on how I'm feeling for the day. But um, it is, like I said, it always starts with gratitude. But a lot of times, I'll do a little meditation, like sending love to my body. And I say, thank you for, thank you, feet, thank you, hands, thank you, sensory system, but just the whole part of me. Other times I do energy work for myself, and I usually send energy healing or energy, um, good vibes to people that I know that have asked me to do that. So I have that morning ritual every day, which kind of gets me going in the right direction.
I love
Yeah.
that. I love that. Well, I really look at you as a pioneer in the area of energy. You've been talking about energy ever since I've known you, and
hmm
and I think that you were probably one of the first people that I talked to that really introduced it in the way that you have this way of, a lot of it is feeling and sensing, but there are tools and there is knowledge and there is wisdom. So
Absolutely.
yeah, so and I know you're also a counselor.
hmm
So what was that moment? Because I know like counseling training, they don't always or maybe never go into the energy piece. And so something happened for you where you said, okay, I want to add something to what I'm already doing. So what was that moment? How did you transition into incorporating all these different modes of healing into your work?
Early on, I was introduced to Reiki. I don't even remember how that happened. And I took the training, and then I retook the training, and then I retook the training because I was just trying to find the right mix for me. I don't do Reiki anymore, but some of that wisdom, obviously stays with you over the years. But I think my light bulb went off, so to speak, in a Tai Chi class many years ago. And because you really can't do that movement, that ritual movement, unless you're fully present in your body. You just can't do it. Or you forget what comes next or whatever. So you have to be centered and focused in order to do a Tai Chi form. And I don't know what we were doing one morning, but we were sort of standing in peace. There was you know how a car alarm goes off, and it was just blaring. It was right outside the studio, and we just couldn't think. I mean, it was like it was just in the room with us. And the teacher said, let's just stand here. Let's just do a Tai Chi standing form, and let's just, be at peace. So we did just exactly that. We began our just a little standing form, came fully present and just stood there. I don't know how long we stood there. I mean, a long time. And when people started waking up, there was no horn blowing. We didn't even know when it stopped blowing. Not one person in the room knew when it stopped blowing, when the horn stopped. And it was like, oh my gosh. Each of us, and I don't know, there were probably 7 or 8 of us doing the same thing. And we were able to create that inner silence for ourselves that completely blocked out that sound so that we didn't even know when it stopped. And that was a light bulb moment for me, for sure. Another light bulb moment was in Tai Chi, and I really give Tai Chi the credit for helping me along my path. But we were doing something, and I just felt this drop of energy go through me. My chest felt like my first thought was, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. What's going on here? And I'm being honest. And so I just went with it for a moment. And what I realized is it was the first time that I could remember that whole torso of my body, my arms, neck, that whole part of me was in complete relaxation. And that was another light bulb moment for me. It was a stunning moment. Both of those moments were stunning moments for me when I began to realize the potential of the human body and the gift of silence and being able to quiet our mind and our bodies enough to be able to get to that really deep place within all of us where there's absolutely nothing but love and peace.
Wow. And I love the power in that, but also the simplicity of it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because we all tend to make things complicated or overthink, over-explain. So, I was saying earlier that I've known you for a long time. And then just recently, I participated in one of your healing circles, which was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in my life.
Thank you.
And I can certainly talk a little bit about my experience with that, but what led you to start doing those healing circles?
That is a good question. I think it came slowly. Um, it was I had just reopened my office in Winston-Salem. I had a little mini video practice at the time, and then I had my office. And I'm thinking, okay, how can I include um, everybody, right? That I know and who might want to do this. That was one reason I thought, okay, groups are great. We can touch more people that way. And then I had written, yeah, I had read Lynn Tygard's book, The Circle of Eight. And I don't know if you, and that was an experiment that she did, a healing experiment she did with groups of 8 people. And it was a profound book. And I thought, wow, that is really exciting. And I might want to do that. But I didn't want to do it just exactly like she did, because first that's, mm-hmm. Whatever, I don't know, ethical, I guess, although she encourages people to use her format. I wanted to include all the energy healing tools that I'd learned over the years, both in energy medicine and energy psychology and Tai Chi and Chi healing. I had a lot of background in those things that I felt were really important to bring into the circle. So I set the date for the first one, and boom, the pandemic took it right out, right? So we couldn't have it in the office, so had to have it online. And I was absolutely amazed at what happened during that first circle. I just couldn't believe the connections that were made and the progress that each person made, both physically and mentally and spiritually. And the bonds that the women made with each other was just profound for me. And I loved it too, And I loved every minute of it. And I fell in love with everybody in the group. And I knew them anyway, but I fell more deeply in love with them. And I thought, wow, this is just an amazing process. And so I've finished 5 of those groups now. I'm getting ready to do number 6. Which is on happiness, living in happiness. But I every day when I get up and I look at the Facebook page for the group or watch through Facebook, and I see how many women from that group are communicating, and they tell me they're communicating. They're texting each other and calling each other and supporting each other on social media. I mean, it's just a fantastic bond that has come about within these women's circles. And so I'm going to keep doing them and keep loving them. And I think each person, I'd like to hear what you have to say too about it. But from what my experience has been, that each person leaves that circle feeling much more content with themselves and much more content with the world. And it almost feels as if they're part of something, part of the group, yes, but part of the larger women's group too, but more part of just humanity and being alive, and now leaving with skills that allow them to create more of a happy, peaceful inner environment and outer environment for themselves. I mean, that's my take on it, but I'd love to hear what you have to say if you want to add your.
Yeah. So I think what drew me to the healing circle is, my own realization that, being a highly empathic person, you've probably maybe yourself or other people that you can have a lot of pain in your life because you're feeling other people's pain. And it's, I think before I started the healing circle, I had gotten a lot more adept at recognizing what was mine and what was other people. And so, I didn't go through as much daily pain. Um, but that was one of the reasons that drew me to the inner circle. And we love dogs. We love cats. We might hear from my cat. The other day, she just kept meowing, and I just thought, I'm just going with it.
Well, that was a surprise for me.
Yeah, yeah. So your dog wanted to talk to all of our listeners. So I love that. So that's what drew me into it. And then I had like a specific intention, like you ask everyone to have a specific intention. But what I noticed is within 2 weeks, my intention had completely changed and had become so much bigger, but yet so much simpler. And of course, I left each circle each night feeling just absolutely amazing. And I found myself, on it when it was a healing circle day, just like looking forward to it all day long. And honestly, I can't remember the last time I took something, took something that someone was offering and had that same kind of feeling of anticipation. And I agree that the connection with the women that were in the group was so powerful and it was so grounding. And one of the surprising things is towards the end when we did that moving meditation with the drums, that stuck with me, and I practiced that several times. And so I think when you're a really verbal person like I am, so physical things are very helpful to me because it gets me out of my mind and into, my body and soul, and recognizing that, I am always more than my mind. And so, I mean, I could talk on and on about that experience, but it was profound and so rewarding and emotional, but not emotional in like a draining way, emotional in an empowering way. So, and, like I said, I've known you for a while and I know your work is powerful, but when I experienced that, I just felt like everyone on the planet should take one of Janet's healing circles. and the other thing that I love about you is how you all that calmness of knowing the right group is coming together at the right time. It's the right women for that particular group. And I'm assuming you would do a group for men, but it sounds like mostly like women are being drawn to it right now. And I'm not sure. I mean, if it would work to have men and women together, maybe it would. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't, but.
No, I actually think it would. And I'm trying to figure out how to do that. I have a meetup locally, and I think I'm going to try it on the meetup to have a mixed group and see how it feels and how it goes. But I think it'll be just as powerful.
Yeah, I think so. And I think that there's an element, that masculine energy is really powerful too. And it's a nice balance. I know I recently interviewed a couple of men who are doing just really interesting things on completely opposite sides of the spectrum. One is very much more technical and one is much more, mindset holistic. But, it's a reminder that oftentimes we think women are the seekers of, self-help, but gosh, men need it. And anything that I ever bring to my husband, he's loving it. And my son, like he'll repeat stuff back to me where I'm like, it's sunk in somewhere.
That's always a pleasure.
Yes. Especially since he's 21. Not too many 21-year-olds are in the listening phase to listening to what their parents have to say.
Amen.
Yeah. So you also have a few books out there. So tell us, you can tell us about, your recent one or your favorite one or your first one, or maybe even intuitively what you feel our listeners might benefit the most from.
Ooh, that's a hard question, but I will try to answer it. One of my favorite books is just not my last book. I mean, I love the one that I've just published, and I will talk about that for a minute. But I wrote a little book called Finding Nature's Magic, and it's just and it's a short little book, but it's full of all my nature stories of these amazing things that have happened. You know, I I will share this because it's in the book. I live in North Carolina right now along the coast, and my backyard joins the marsh, right? And so I have trees on both sides of my house, and then the back of my house is just a little forest. A path goes down through the forest to the dock where I love to go and sit and meditate because I am very drawn to water, and I think, spiritually speaking, water is one of the most profound substances on this planet. Um, so I watch the trees every day, right? I watch them. And I've sort of gotten to know them. I call them my friends, and I realize they respond to me. So I started calling them tree beings. and and because they do respond to me, it's amazing. So one day it was just pouring the rain, and it had been pouring the rain for hours, and I was looking at the trees, and some of them were just all drooping, and others were like stoic, trying to their personalities were showing, and how they were trying to get through this downpour that we were having. And there was this one little tree, a very young tree. uh, I I mean, she just it I she'd been there all the time, but I really hadn't noticed her before. She was like a little child, like a toddler will just jump in the puddles and just have a big time. And I remember, my kids just always wanted to go out and play in the rain. I wanted to go out and play. This tree was just playing in the rain. You could just watch her. She was just having a good time. Her leaves were going everywhere. She was swaying in the breeze. She was just having a good time. And I thought, wow, you know, just looking out here watching these trees gives me a profound inner knowing of how individual those trees are, and how they do have personalities, and how they do respond to the environment, and how we as human beings have a responsibility to make their life a little bit easier for them, and take care of Mother Nature and take care of the environment, and so that our children have the experience and our grandchildren have the experience of watching the trees dance in the rain. So finding nature's magic has to do with the magic of nature, the little things and experiences that I've had over the years, and some of them are in that book. It was really fun to write, and I hope people have fun reading it.
That's a great story and so beautiful. And the funny thing is that I have a tree in my front yard. Well, I had to cut down a tree, which is very sad. It
Mm-hmm.
died, and I grieved. I actually grieved. I had named her Alice, and so then I was really careful about when I picked a new tree. And when we first planted the new tree, it had tree transplant shock, it was in shock. And so I would go out there every day and I would say, and I haven't named this tree yet, it hasn't come forward, but I would say, I love you, please grow, please thrive, and I would talk to it, and my son would always be with me. And of course, within a week or two, the tree started thriving, and it's grown a lot, over the summer. And I'm really happy. Like, I'm confident this tree is going to make it. And my son sent me an Instagram reel the other day, and he goes, "This is you, Mom." And it was this guy talking to his plants. And he sent this, and it was a Saturday night at midnight. It was 2 a.m. in New York, where he goes to school. And he's thinking of his mom talking to plants, and he sends me that reel. So it's pretty cute. And yeah. So it does make a difference. It really does. So,
it does make a difference.
Yeah. So I say something to my tree out front every day, to keep it thriving. So you said that you have a book, and I think I have a copy of it. I think you sent me your most recent book.
My most recent book is the Adani Chronicles.
Oh, okay. I don't have that one. So, but let's talk about that one.
I think you probably have Revolutionize Your Health.
Yes, that's what I have.
Yeah.
Yep.
They're very different books. The Adani Chronicles is, is very personal, and I can't even believe I published my journal, but that's basically what I did. But I thought it was such an important topic. Well, let me rephrase that. I started journaling about my experience of learning my soul name, because each of us have a name that we're given at the birth of our soul. That's not something that everybody knows, and it's not something that we learn necessarily during each lifetime what our soul name was. When it was just an accident, it wasn't. I didn't learn that on purpose. It just came up in a conversation that I was having with two deeply intuitive friends, and at the end of the conversation, he said, I think I have something I want to tell you, and it was such a profound experience. I just all I could do was cry. So, I mean, it was just, I felt so loved. I felt so at peace. It was just an experience I'd never had before. So I started journaling about it. And over, I guess it was about a period of 2 months, maybe 3 months, I was journaling every day. But 2 or 3 days into it, the journaling about what was happening and going on inside of me and how I was meeting this part of myself and getting to know this part of myself on an extremely intimate, in an extremely intimate way. And, just taking the mind out of it, taking the emotions out of it, and just knowing that soul self and that energy was just a profound experience for me. And I was writing my journal, and I heard this little voice inside of me say, Janet, you realize this is not just for you,
Mm.
I was like, whew, you, you mean you want me to make this public? Oh, okay, I got to think about that. But I heard, and I did, and so there's about I guess a 2 month, maybe 3 month period that I published. Obviously, it's not straight from my journal. I had it edited, and that kind of thing. But it is my journal of that experience of learning my soul name and all the things and all the um, unbelievable experiences I had over that 2 or 3 months. It was profound, changed my life forever. And the response to the book for those people who have let me know, I know when I published it, was the first time that I had ever just started getting emails and text messages from people who had read the book, and it was like, so I knew I'd done the right thing. I knew it. I knew it needed to be out there. So thanks for asking me that.
Well, and good for being brave and listening. Sometimes we get those intuitive nudges and ignore them. And I love that you, even though I'm sure you felt extremely vulnerable, that you just went with it.
I'm very vulnerable.
Yes. So how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way for people to reach you?
Probably through social media. I have, I guess 4 or 5 years ago, Joan Capps and I went together and created a platform on Facebook and on Twitter called I'm Choosing Love. And so we tweet about that every day, write about it every day. And I would invite anybody who is wanting to choose a more balanced, happy, harmonized way of life to join and get that positive feedback every day. That's a good way to reach me. I have a website or a website called mindfulpathways.com. I'm not as faithful to my blog as I used to be, but there are a lot of really good blog posts there, and a lot of good information as well. because there have been some guest bloggers that have just left wonderful things. And right now I have up this prayer for peace, and you can, just click on it and read it, download it if you want to. It's just something that came to me. I woke up one morning and I was saying this prayer, and I thought, oh my goodness, where is this coming from? So I jumped up and wrote it down as quick as I can, quick as I could, and I posted it a couple of years later. But I posted it on my Mindful Pathways page. So that's a good way to reach me. There's a way to contact me through there. So I'd love to hear from anybody that would like to touch base.
Wonderful. And so we've gone so deep with this conversation. What is the one or maybe two things that you'd love for people to take away? Like when they leave, it's that piece that just sticks with them.
That you do have a soul, that it is pure, love, light, that you have a family of ancestors, spiritual masters, teachers that are with you every day of your life, whether you know it or not, guiding you through the up and downs, the everyday up and downs of life. So I'd like to leave people with that. And I would also like to leave them with the fact that being alive is magic, and we are a part of nature. And I invite everybody to become part of nature's magic.
That's really beautiful. Thank you so much, Janet. And for everyone listening, you are on the Sheri Kaye Hoff Show. You can reach us at sherikayhoff.com. That's SHERIKAYEHOFF.com. And have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And we love you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.